Although I've been able to study abroad many times through Robert Morris, I think Israel is already really different than all of the other countries I've been to.
As a non-traditional student at Robert Morris University, I'm taking advantage of the international opportunity to come to Israel.
A good tour educator has to be somebody with curiosity, somebody who is a people person, somebody who wants to spark the interest of the target audience.
I'm going to start telling you a little bit about the Druze historical background, some of the principles. And there are certain things that I know and I can't pass it to you because it's considered a secret. Why? Because before we were persecuted back in Egypt, and this is why we try to maintain certain things as secret.
I'm going to Robert Morris to become a high school history teacher, and there's so much history here religiously for the three main monotheistic religions. There's so much of that background covered here.
As an elementary education major, I wanted to incorporate what I learned here in Israel into my classroom. But being here on this trip has meant so much more and brought deeper meaning to my faith.
The Western Wall is 488 meters long. Okay, we're looking at a section here where the excavations went all the way down to ground level.
Avi and Jonty, our tour guides, are experts in their fields.
On the other side of this barrier, you have the prayer plaza where people go to pray.
For example, Jonty, we were standing in the square where King David's tomb was and the Last Supper was held, and it was an awesome experience to have that happen.
As you take in the bells from Domitian Abbey, which is just close by to us, notice the sounds of the city. You've got the sounds of Christianity telling that they have a connection to the place. Over the next while, we're going to hear many sounds of Judaism as it speaks of Friday night and that we have a connection to the place. If we're lucky enough, perhaps we'll hear the call of the Muazzin, which will be the call of the Muslims, the call to prayer that we're listening. And we'll have to ask ourselves, what are all these calls and all these sounds as you speak of, in a certain sense, the concept of religion in public spaces?
So today we walked through Hezekiah's Tunnel, which was built 3,700 years ago, and it was built for the city of David as a water source. It was very, very interesting. It was really narrow, and it was high in some points and really low, and we had to crouch down in some points. And at one point, we turned off all of our lights, and we got to see what it would be like if we were actually digging the tunnel.
I took an intercultural communication class before I actually came here, so I understood a little bit about Islam and Judaism and Christian because they're the three main religions in the world, and they all have a lot in common, so I think it's really important to know a little bit about each one of them so that you can connect things.
Every man in Israel there is a big mitzvah to write himself for himself a book, and what you have to do is go to a writer.
תפילין, אנחנו קושרים אותם גם נגד הלב וגם נגד המוח. כאן מול המוח וגם ביד כאן נגד הלב. ושניהם באים לומר שהיהודי קשור גם במוח שלו וגם בלב שלו לקדוש ברוך הוא.
We went up to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and there you can reach down and touch the stone at Golgotha and touch maybe where Jesus was put up on the cross. That was an inspirational moment for me. That was maybe an epiphany.
The thing that really touched me most was going to the Garden of Gethsemane and being able to see the Church of All Nations. The Garden of Gethsemane I did my paper on that, the whole Mount of Olives, and so I'm gonna cry. So the Garden of Gethsemane is where Jesus wept. And inside of the Church of Nations is the rock where he wept. And as soon as I saw that, I got down and I cried because I felt very emotional. It's just, I'm so blessed to have this opportunity, and I'm only 20, and some people never get that opportunity to come.
One of the core values that Robert Morris has is the global perspective.
Not only the place, but also the idea of being here. I mean, if I leave and that person leaves.
And it's definitely important for students to get to experience other cultures and what they're going through.
It's now the year 70. He has his son Titus continue putting down the Jewish revolt. He doesn't go to Rome yet to take up his position as the emperor.
After graduation, I'm planning on entering the Peace Corps. That's my first goal. But the rest of my future goals circle around international education because of my study abroad experiences through Robert Morris.
You and I, in this beautiful world, under tiny fires burning in the sky. You and I, in this beautiful world, where I'm feeling so big and so small at the same time. And you told me how you love me, like the rocks, they love the waves, and your words sweep me away beyond the dust. And you took me to your banyan tree on the day that I first came, and I lost myself somewhere between love and lust.